What's up YouTube, Demi here on the Blight character we've been playing for most of this week I think now. We have just over 2 days, 4 hours of playtime, sitting at level 88. I leveled mostly with Blight. I did use Essence Raid and Contagion for like 1 or 2 levels just to test it out, but then we used Blight for the majority of it. We got to level 70-ish without using any gear from my stash. Just with self-found trash and like a 4-link. And then that took about 12 hours to get the Merciless level 70-ish on Dried Lake. And then when we got to level 70, we took out a bunch of CI gear from my stash and respected the CI basically. Or we were CI, but we got actual ES numbers at that point and a 6-link and whatever. The DPS did not jump that much from a 6-link though. But that being said, this character is Blight. We are currently Lowlife version, using Shavs. We'll start with the skill tree, Ascendancies. You go Occultist because with Blight you cannot leech, you cannot hit, and you don't really have a way to like leech back to full instantly, so you have to have a very strong defensive Ascendancy, which is why we get Occultist for Wicked Ward. Energy Shield recharge is not interrupted if recharge began recently. So, if you take some big hits, you go to like 6 KS, whatever, and then you start recharging back to full, I'm sorry, it doesn't stop for 4 seconds. So like, you have 4 seconds of just fully regeneration really fast, like the, this recharge per second rate. So I recharge 4k per second for 4 seconds, and that just doesn't stop even if you're at full, you just have 4 seconds of immunity. So this is really nice. It also gives you a fair amount of flat ES and some ES energy shield recharge rate. Because we're using Chaos, we use Void Beacon. Gives you Chaos damage, ES, and then negative 20% Chaos resistance to nearby enemies. That's actually one of the only ways to get quote-unquote Chaos penetration in the game. There are no other auras or ways to do this, so that's why we give Void Beacon. Then our last point, we're using Profane Bloom, which gives you 20% chance to explode enemies, dealing a quarter of their maximum life as Chaos damage. So what that means is, if I go into a pack and I manage to blight something down, I have a 20% chance for it to explode. When it explodes, it deals a huge chunk of Chaos damage, which is then scaled by all of our increased Chaos damage stuff. So if you can get this to be over, what do you need that to be? If it's 25%, I think you need to do 400% of that damage scaling, so you have to get like area damage scales it as well. But Chaos damage scales it, Chaos damage scales it, area damage scales it. If you can get that number to be high enough, what it means is that if you pop say a magic pack, and one of them pops, it'll deal over 100% of its maximum life as Chaos damage. Which is insane. It'll kill the rest of the pack instantly for you. So we kind of rely on this for AoE clear speed, since Blight doesn't have much of the DPS that we need. But that's okay. This carries us a lot. It also gives us 10% increased damage against enemies we curse, which is everything because we're using Blasphemy and Vulnerability and all this stuff. And then for our last 2 points, we're using Malediction. We get an additional curse, which is incredible. So we have 3 curses with 1 curse here, 1 curse here, and then the normal curse that you're allowed to have. So you can do Temp Chains, Enfeeble, and Vulnerability for maximum DPS and survivability. But yeah, it's really nice. The extra Chaos damage is non-Chaos damage is extra Chaos damage isn't really relevant because we only deal Chaos for the most part, so that's not really important. But start with the tree. You start from which you grab all the ES nodes, and the ES nodes, and the area damage nodes. Blight is tagged as Chaos, Spell, Duration, and AoE. So anything that scales those 4 things, we're going to try to grab on the tree to make it not shit, basically. I'm going to get these points in the next 3 levels, but I don't have them yet for the Alchemist nodes. So I picked up this Jewel Socket. Because we are low life, we went for Pain Attunement. If you're not low life, you can just go CI and drop the Reservation nodes for more damage, Chaos nodes, and whatever. But this is the low life version, so we'll just stick with that. We grab Essence Surge. This interacts incredibly well with the Wicked Ward Ascendancy point because it gives you faster start of Energy Shield recharge. So that means that you get a bunch of Energy Shield recharge rate, which is nice, so that your actual recharge rate is faster, but you also get 30% increased Energy Shield recharge rate, which is the equivalent of like 5 good rolled jewels. So that's just really nice to have. It's only 4 points out of the way for us, and it's just really solid. Picked up the Reduced Mana Reservation and the Aura Effect node here. This one I don't need yet because I'm just trying to get the purities I'm running to get me to 80% all res, so we'll talk about that when we get to the gem setup. So I grabbed those 2 nodes. I grabbed these 2 nodes for some ES life and strength to help me reserve more life because I was having some issues with the rounding errors from clarity, so I got these for the efficiency on the ES nodes. Then you pick up a bunch of Chaos damage here. Chaos damage, casting with Chaos skills, Chaos res, it's all nice. Come down through here, grab damage over time nodes for the Blight degen and some life regen as well. 1.4% is not bad. Spell damage, mana regen, intelligence, ES all res, chaos damage, move speed, skill over time, or sorry, damage over time, skill effect duration, cast speed, and then we're going to pick up these chaos nodes as well, which will be great. Then we have some more reservation nodes here, mostly for the reduced mana reserve because it's 12% for 4 points, which is really good, and then a jewel socket. Then you go back over here, after you grab your pain attunement stuff, you come down here, grab Harrier, grab more spell damage, jewel socket, grab the aura effect, reduce mana reservation nodes, and then cut through Scion ES wheel. It's more efficient to do this than it is to go here. This is 1, 2, 3, and this is 1, 2, 3. So you gain all of this ES instead of just the int, so it's faster. It's more efficient to connect through the bottom, basically. And then you come up here to get your extra curse, grab Whispers of Doom and curse effect nodes, and then grab these chaos damage over time nodes. This one's really nice. And then you go get all the other reservation stuff because we're low life, and Zealot's Oath. Personal preference, I really like the regen to passively in case we do take a big hit, or a bunch of small hits rather. This kind of edits that out of it, the equation. Then you grab Templar AoE. I will probably be grabbing these points here for the cast movement speed and these 2 points as well for the cast and spell damage, but that's the skill tree. Go over the jewels real quick. Jewels, we're looking for stuff that scales the chaos pop from the what's it called, Profane Bloom, as well as scaling Blight. They're both AoE, they're both chaos, they're both damage stuff, so I have jewels that look like stuff like this. Energy shield, area damage. Spell damage while holding a shield, area damage, or intelligence, energy shield, whatever. This one is cast speed while holding a shield, area damage, and ES and intelligence. This one is damage over time, and energy shield. And then we have this one over here. This is the perfect one for us. It's damage, cast damage, energy shield. The only thing that would make this better is if I could exalt it and hit area damage on it, and then it would be exactly what we want for this tree. Basically, you're looking for things that double dip, and by double dip I mean they hit both of the skills that we want. We want the Chaos Pop to be scaled, and we also want our Blight to be scaled. So, this does that twice and gives us ES. Area damage would give us 3. That's all the tree stuff. So, we'll go over the gear and links. We'll go over the links first. Main 6 link, I'm using Blight, increased AoE, controlled destruction, rapid decay, void manipulation, and a level 4 empower. This is with level 20 Blight, so this is effectively gives you a level 23 Blight. I'm going to evolve, hopefully get a 21, and then we'll have a level 24 Blight, which would be great. You can also swap out the increased AoE for Conk effect for bosses. But with increased AoE, I have... Let me get rid of this stuff. I have 3.2k chaos damage per stack, and up to 20 of those stacks. So that would be, at max stacks, that's what, 66k DPS? It's got fairly good AoE with Templar Witch and increased AoE. Still kind of short range and very wide, but it does work for AoE clear. And then for with Conk effect, we go up to 5.132k. The AoE is fucking tiny though, so I usually just use increased AoE. But that's the main 6 link. If you don't have an Empower, you can just slot in a faster casting here, or increased duration, or less duration, whichever you prefer. Doesn't matter that much. Other links, using a Discipline on mana, using an Enduring Cry for the Immortal Call setup, which is right here. Cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, and Vulnerability. This is one of our 3 curses. Vulnerability's damage over time does not scale with the level of the gem, so it doesn't matter what level it is. It just increases the physical damage and the AoE the higher up you level it. So for us, the damage over time is all we care about. So I keep it on level 1 so it triggers all the time with the level 1 cast when damage taken. When we have a higher level cast when damage taken, linked to Stone Golem, Vortex, and increased AoE. This can be whatever you want, really, this setup. I just prefer the Vortex because it gives you a very large AoE slow, which multiplies with our Hinder effect from our weapon and our Temp Chain slow, and the Hinder from Blight itself. So, in the Helm, which is a Heretic's Veil, has to be a Heretic's Veil for this current setup. I'm not good at auras, so if you want to do a different aura setup, you're going to have to figure it out yourself. I had a friend help me with these. So level 21 Blood Magic with Enfeeble, Temp Chains, and Clarity in the helmet. I can actually level up the Clarity a couple more times because I have more life now. But that gives you two curses on Blasphemy with life because of Heretics. And then I also have Clarity on life to do all of my life reservation, basically. In the shield, we have a Spell Totem, faster casting Wither. This is to multiply our single target damage. Wither gives you 7% increased chaos damage taken per stack up to 20 stacks, I think. Yeah, so that would be 140% increased cast damage taken. It only really helps on single targets, especially with Conk effect, and it's a pretty large multiplier, but again, it takes a little bit to get going. You drop the Wither Totem, and you just blight the target down with it, and it'll burn down pretty quick, or melt down, whatever you want to call it. In the boots, this is our other aura setup. It's all 3 purities for Purity of Fire, Purity of Ice, Purity of Lightning. With a level 4 in Power, I can actually use a level 4 in Enlighten. I can actually use a level 3 Enlighten, I believe. And it doesn't affect me too much. Yeah, I can still cast with that. So if you don't have a level 4 Enlighten, it doesn't matter. You just have less mana to play with. So you would be fine with level 3 though, no problem. But that's the aura setup. With the amount of aura effect nodes on the tree that we have, it gives us exactly enough aura effectiveness to hit 81%. So to show that, if I take off this 6% node, we go to 79 auras, which is not okay. I wanted to be at 80, so we pick up this one more node, and it gets us up to 80% auras, which is really nice defensively. What other links are there? I think that's all the main links. Yeah, so let me go over gear. I chose to use Singularity for this build, mostly for the AoE slow effect and the cast speed. Like, an ideal weapon for this build would be a really high spell damage wand with cast speed and increased damage over time crafted on it. But this gives us similar levels of power to that because it gives you 18% cast speed and the increased damage against hindered enemies. The weapon itself gives you hinder to about this range, and then the Blight skill effect is to hinder for the 0.8 seconds every time you cast at something. So the initial channel of the cast, they'll be hindered for 0.8 seconds, and then when you get closer, this always hinders everything. So you always get that increased damage roll. The range is 60 to 80%, so the higher cast speed and percent you have, the better. This is the best one I could find with a reasonable budget. Other gear. Heretic's Veil, required for this version. If you can figure out how to make it work without the Heretics, I think you just drop a Purity, or drop the Clarity maybe, and then you can still reserve 2 Blasphemies and all the other auras. But this gives you super high level Blasphemy, super high level Curses, and decent amount of energy shield. You can get much higher with a rare helm. So if you don't want to use Heretics, just use a high ES helm and you'll be fine. I like Heretics though. Saves me a gem link basically. And a bunch of reservation nodes. Shield, just get as much ES as you can. Resist ES, regen, intelligence, whatever you want, block chance. All are good. I had this one lying around, so I'm using it. Amulet, I'm using Eye of Chayula for the stun immunity. You can get a +1 curse Eye of Chayula. It doesn't actually do anything for us. If you did get a +1 curse, you could drop 4 points, basically. You could drop these 4 points if you don't want them. But there's no 4th curse that amplifies the damage of this skill at all. Ellie Weakness does nothing. Flammability, Frostbite, all those do nothing. There's no other curse that would really help this, so we just don't need the extra curse. So I just got the all attributes for the little bit extra ES and some freedom of stats on my other gear. Rings, I'm using a Chaos Resistance ring with ES crafted onto it, basically. None of the other stuff really matters. I tried to get Chaos Res here. You don't need it. I just went for basically an ES ring that's an unset. The more res you can get, the better, though. Other one, pretty similar. It's got ES, All Res, ES, and Intelligence with a socket for Enduring Cry and Discipline, as we talked about. Belt, ES and Resistances, and a little bit of move speed is always helpful. Strength on your belt's nice as too. As you can see, I have very low strength and very low dex. So if you can get dex and strength on your jewelry, it'll help you out a lot. Gloves, I'm using a nice pair of rare gloves with resistances and ES. And then boots, same thing. We made these yesterday on stream, actually. And then I ran lab today and hit the enchantment on the very first try. But yeah, these are triple T1 prefix and tri-res boots. You don't need that much ES, that much res. Just get move speed and get ES if you can. And then the enchantments best in slot. I think Helm enchant, what you want is increased Temporal Chains curse effectiveness or enfeeble curse effectiveness. None of the Blight enchantments really seem to be worth having. The curse effectiveness is much stronger. So I would go for Temp Chains or enfeeble, whichever you can get easier. I'm running this for Temp Chains though. Glove enchant, I'm using Commandment of Light. What this does is when you take a critical strike, which we tend to do a lot because we stand still so fucking often, we get 4% max life regen and Consecrated Ground, which is pretty good because we are, again, Zealot's Oath, which means that we regenerate, instead of our pitiful 166 regen per second, it goes up to 1,000, and then also our start regen is a lot faster too. So we get a lot of regen when that procs. Boot enchant, I'm using the 2% of mana life regen per second if you were hit recently. There's really not too many of them that help us. You can do cast speed if you've killed recently. The penetration one does nothing. The added damage does nothing because you can't hit with Blight. It's a degeneration effect, so it doesn't do anything. All the added fire if you haven't killed recently, added lightning if you've killed recently, whatever. Those don't do anything. Movement speed if you haven't been hit recently would be nice, I guess. But again, it doesn't help you if you're being hit standing still, which this does, so I got this one. That's the enchants. I think that's all the gear. skill trees, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and do an example map. Things that we've done with this. I've been doing T15s. We did some Guardians as well. I guess we can do a Guardian. It's just going to be really slow. Where's my Shaper tab? So the theme is like basically safe and steady, right? The better you are at dodging things, which is pretty easy with the level of defensiveness in this tree and the temp chain's effectiveness, you just kind of walk around and blight stuff to death. Give me something that's not shitty. Hexproof is shitty. Temp chains is okay. Things we don't like. We don't like no regen. We don't like cannot regen is... yeah, no regen's bad. Hexproof is bad. Blood magic is bad. Cannot leech doesn't matter because we don't leech. What other things are kind of annoying? Minus regen is annoying because I can't really sustain the mana cost because my clarity's not high enough level. But other than that, it's a very safe build. Like you drop Wither Totem, cast Enduring Cry, Blight. Things die. Repeat this process per pack. And you just keep on trucking. You're very slow, but you're very safe. Which is fine. I think that's fine. If they buff the damage with the skill, it'll be a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward until we get to the boss. At this stage, I think you've seen enough of the playstyle. It's really just, you just kind of stand there and hold Blight down and they die, eventually. But yeah, I'll see you at the boss fight. Alright guys, so now that the map clear is done, we switch in Conk Effect for the boss fight. I might actually keep increased AoE, and we'll see. If I die, I'll probably switch to increased AoE, just because it's such a hard fight to be at range from, or to be this close to. So we'll see if I can do it with this. But yeah, it's deathless so far. I mean, clear speed's fine. It's just slow. Slow and steady wins the race, right? But yeah, here's the demonstration of how much they get slowed by the hinder effect. Stacking with your Vortex chill, stacking with your Temp Chains effect, like they're just super slow. So you kind of have all the time in the world to react and keep your spells up and whatever. Just don't tank the charge and you'll be fine. Single target's pretty good with Conk Effect in. But yeah, again, you just gotta play it safe. Take your time, there's no rush here. Your Golem's a good distraction most of the time as well. And this is minus max, more monster life Onslaught. This is with Onslaught, he's still that slow. Like, it's a good sign. Oh, or if you're not paying attention, just tank this charge, it's fine. But yeah, I think you've seen the basics of the fight. You just kind of dodge, keep rotating around the circle, don't stand in the lightning things. But I'm going to go ahead and start fast forwarding at this point, just so we can get this done for you. And hopefully we do it deathless. That was my bad. I was standing in the rings too close. I think I was in 3 different rings at the same time. I didn't know where to go, so I just kind of stood there and died. Well, that's okay. Shit happens. Once more into the breach. It's just a bad place to go. I need to go over here. So that was a crit, I think. He crit me for like 8k through the minus max. Which happens. But yeah, we're almost done. He's almost dead, and we've only died, what, twice now? Using a very mediocre skill in terms of DPS. Defensively, though, it's great. So yeah, so we need to get out of that stuff. Let's go over here, I guess. Go down this way. Oh god, it hurts. If you get a lucky chaos pop in this sort of thing, the situation right there, yeah, you get a huge chunk of damage off on the boss, because all the pops are like 100% max life damage or something stupid. As chaos. I might die there. I'm good. I got a good pop. Come on, bud, just die for me. You can use your totem to kind of bait him through the lightning places, so he doesn't stand in the middle of them with you. Which can be annoying at times. Totem's nice though, it helps a lot. Big AoE slow that you can also use to DPS bosses down faster. And taunt things with. Almost done. Well, there you have it. There is the, what do we want to call this character? The Princess of Corruption. Sounds good. But I hope you guys enjoyed the build guide. I hope you enjoyed Breach League. This is pre-patch notes. I think they're coming out tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, if it gets buffed, this build will be amazing, the damage. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and that'll be DeMi out. If you have any questions, ask in the comments. I'll probably try to do a forum guide for this as well once the patch notes are out. And I'll have that link in the description below as well. So, I'll see you guys later. DeMi out.